What if the most advanced civilization to ever walk the earth vanished beneath the waves in a single day and night? A place of flying machines, crystal-powered cities, and knowledge that could rewrite history. This is not just a myth, it's the legend of Atlantis. For thousands of years, the story of a sunken city has captured the imagination of philosophers, scientists, and dreamers alike. Tonight, we dive deep beyond the myths, through the murky depths of time, to uncover the secrets of Atlantis. Introduction. Myth meets mystery. For thousands of years, the legend of Atlantis has gripped the human imagination like few other stories in history. First introduced by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato around 360 BCE, Atlantis was described as a powerful, technologically advanced island civilization that vanished beneath the waves in a single day and night of cataclysm. Was it merely an allegorical tale, warning against hubris and moral decay? Or could it be a distant memory of a real lost world? The mystery has never faded. Across centuries, the tale of Atlantis has inspired philosophers, historians, archaeologists, conspiracy theorists, and dreamers alike. Its appeal lies not only in the possibility of a lost civilization, but in the tantalizing hints of knowledge, power, and innovation far beyond what we associate with the ancient world. Could such a society, complete with flying machines, crystal energy, and sprawling cities, have really existed and then been swallowed by the sea? From the halls of ancient Athens to the depths of the Atlantic Ocean, from medieval manuscripts to modern documentaries, Atlantis continues to fuel both academic inquiry and imaginative speculation. Some believe it lies hidden off the coast of Spain or buried beneath the sands of the Sahara. Others insist it was a metaphor used by Plato to illustrate deeper philosophical truths. Yet a growing body of fringe theories suggests advanced technologies, global cataclysms, and even extraterrestrial involvement. This exploration of Atlantis, its origins, interpretations, and enduring legacy invites us to navigate the blurred line between myth and memory, history and fantasy. Whether real or imagined, Atlantis is more than a story. It is a symbol of humanity's longing to uncover forgotten truths and lost golden ages. As we dive into the legend, one question echoes across time. What if Atlantis was real? And if so, the Platonic origin, Timaeus and Critias, the enduring legend of Atlantis, begins not in mythic folklore or ancient sailor tales, but in the precise and philosophically charged writings of one of history's greatest thinkers, Plato. Around 360 BCE, Plato introduced the story of Atlantis in two of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. These texts, structured as fictional conversations among Athenian philosophers, laid the foundation for everything we know about Atlantis today. But Plato's purpose was not to write history or entertain with myth. Rather, he used the tale to illustrate philosophical ideals, political models, and the moral decay of societies. In Timaeus, Atlantis is mentioned briefly. The dialogue opens with Socrates discussing the ideal state and how it would behave in war. Critias, one of Socrates' companions, seizes the opportunity to describe a story passed down in his family, one he claims to be true. He tells of a great empire that existed beyond the Pillars of Heracles, commonly understood to be the Strait of Gibraltar, an island greater in size than Libya and Asia combined. This civilization, known as Atlantis, was rich, powerful, and advanced. But it fell from grace when its people became corrupt and greedy, abandoning their virtuous beginnings. According to the story, the gods punished Atlantis by sending earthquakes and floods that sank the island in a single day and night. The tale continues in greater detail in Critias, which is unfortunately incomplete. Cutting off mid-sentence before the destruction of Atlantis is fully described. Here, Plato expands on the geography, culture, politics, and spiritual beliefs of the Atlanteans. He portrays Atlantis as a magnificent empire ruled by 10 kings, descended from Poseidon, the god of the sea. Poseidon is said to have fathered 5 pairs of twin sons with a mortal woman named Cleito. He divided the namesake of the empire. Plato paints a picture of a highly organized society with breathtaking architecture and infrastructure. Atlantis had concentric rings of land and water, with bridges and canals connecting districts and palaces surrounded by lush gardens. The island boasted rich natural resources: gold, silver, orichalcum, a mysterious, possibly mythical metal, and an abundance of fertile land and wildlife. Its people were skilled engineers, sailors, and warriors. Temples to Poseidon and other gods stood tall, gleaming with precious metals and housing sacred rituals. Politically, Atlantis was originally a just and virtuous kingdom. The laws of the land were set down by Poseidon and inscribed on a pillar of orichalcum within the central temple. The kings ruled in harmony, respecting divine law and maintaining peace and prosperity. However, over time, the Atlanteans grew proud and greedy, craving more power and wealth, expanding their reach into the Mediterranean, even threatening ancient Athens itself. This aggression marked the beginning of their decline. It is at this point that Plato introduces a counter-narrative. The city of Athens, as envisioned in his ideal republic, stood as a model of virtue and resistance. According to the tale, ancient Athens, far older than the city known in Plato's time, repelled the invasion of the Atlanteans, standing alone in defense of freedom and justice. Shortly thereafter, the gods judged Atlantis and destroyed it, wiping it from existence. Whether Plato intended this story to be read as literal history or metaphorical allegory remains one of the central debates in Atlantean scholarship. Many scholars argue that Atlantis was never meant to be taken literally, but rather served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris, moral decay, and the corrupting influence of wealth and imperial ambition. In this view, Plato's Atlantis is a mirror image of his. Ideal Athens, a utopia turned dystopia due to the erosion of virtue. Yet even in antiquity, some thinkers believed Plato was referencing real events or ancient memories. Crantor, a student of Plato's student Xenocrates, reportedly traveled to Egypt and claimed to have seen inscriptions that matched the Atlantean account. Egyptian priests are said to have told Solon, an ancestor of Critias, about Atlantis as part of their vast historical records. This connection, whether true or fabricated, gave the story an air of credibility that helped it persist through the centuries. In sum, the story of Atlantis begins not with myths passed down by oral tradition, but with a deliberate philosophical invention by Plato. Through Timaeus and Critias, he gave the world a vision of a lost civilization that was both magnificent and flawed, a powerful society undone by its own failings. Whether it was intended as a moral lesson or based on ancient echoes of real events, Plato's account remains the bedrock upon which all later Atlantean theories are built. His words gave rise to a legend that still stirs debate, wonder, and investigation over 2,000 years later. The geography of Atlantis. Plato's detailed description of Atlantis in Critias provides the most comprehensive picture of the island's geography, a place both enchanting and highly structured, reflecting a harmonious blend of nature and civilization. According to Plato, Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Heracles, generally believed to refer to the Strait of Gibraltar, placing the island somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. He describes Atlantis as a vast landmass larger than Libya and Asia combined, suggesting a size far exceeding typical Mediterranean islands. At the heart of the island lay a magnificent capital city, constructed in a series of concentric rings, alternating bands of land and sea, perfectly engineered for both defense and aesthetic beauty. These rings were connected by bridges and canals, forming a unique system that allowed ships to sail directly into the heart of the city. The central island housed a grand temple to Poseidon, covered in silver with a roof of ivory and adorned with gold statues. This sacred center was surrounded by palaces, gardens, racetracks, and baths, showcasing the Atlanteans' architectural and engineering prowess. The island's natural resources were abundant. Fertile plains stretched across the interior, nourished by a complex irrigation system that maximized agricultural output. Towering mountains, rich in precious metals and rare stones, bordered the plains. The mysterious metal orichalcum, second in value only to gold, was said to shine like fire and was used to decorate buildings and temples. Plato's Atlantis was a land of breathtaking diversity: snow-capped peaks, lush forests, broad fields, and an advanced cityscape, all carefully harmonized by its inhabitants. Whether purely fictional or based on some ancient memory, the described geography adds to Atlantis's allure, portraying it as a paradise lost, a world of order, beauty. Catastrophic day. The splendor and society of Atlantis. Atlantis, as described by Plato in Critias, was a civilization of extraordinary wealth, beauty, and sophistication, far surpassing any known society of the ancient world. Its splendor lay not only in its majestic architecture and natural abundance, but in the complexity of its social and political systems, which initially fostered justice, order, and harmony. At the center of Atlantean society was the royal dynasty, descended from Poseidon, the god of the sea, He fathered 10 sons with a mortal woman, Plato, and divided the island into 10 provinces, each ruled by a king. These kings were autonomous, but bound by a central law, inscribed on a pillar of orichalcum and kept in the great temple of Poseidon. The kings met regularly to deliberate, rule with fairness, and uphold divine law, embodying an early form of federated governance that emphasized unity through shared values. The capital was a marvel of engineering, concentric rings of land and water, lavishly decorated with gold, silver, and the legendary orichalcum. Towers, bridges, and temples stood alongside lush gardens, race courses, and baths, illustrating the Atlanteans' balance between utility and beauty. Their technological capabilities were advanced. They harnessed water through aqueducts, managed complex irrigation systems, and built a navy capable of global projection. Socially, Atlantis was organized and prosperous. Its citizens enjoyed high standards of living, supported by fertile lands, rich mineral resources, and a strong maritime trade network. Education, spiritual practice, and athleticism were all valued aspects of life. Yet as prosperity grew, so did moral decay. The society that once revered balance and virtue fell to greed, pride, and domination, ultimately sealing its fate. Atlantis serves as both a vision of utopia and a cautionary tale. A society that rose to greed, pride, and domination, ultimately sealing its fate. Atlantis serves as both a vision of utopia and a cautionary tale. A society that rose through wisdom and fell through arrogance, lost forever beneath the waves. The fall of Atlantis, the downfall of Atlantis, is as dramatic as its rise, an epic collapse that turned a flourishing empire into a cautionary tale for eternity. According to Plato's Critias, the Atlanteans, once noble and virtuous, gradually succumbed to greed, pride, and the lust for power. As their moral compass eroded, so too did the divine favor that had sustained their prosperity. What began as a just and enlightened society transformed into one obsessed with conquest and domination. Driven by imperial ambition, the Atlanteans sought to expand their rule over the Mediterranean. Their armies marched across Europe and Africa, subjugating territories and threatening even ancient Athens. But it was here that their aggression met resistance. In Plato's account, a virtuous and older version of Athens, embodying wisdom, justice, and civic unity, rose to challenge the Atlantean forces. The Athenians repelled the invasion alone, standing as a symbol of righteousness against corruption and tyranny. The gods, particularly Zeus, observed the fall from grace. Displeased with the Atlanteans' moral decay, Zeus resolved to punish them. The dialogue of Critias unfortunately breaks off just as Zeus prepares to speak, but Plato had already foreshadowed the outcome. In a single day and night of violent earthquakes and floods, the island of Atlantis was swallowed by the sea. It vanished from the face of the earth, leaving behind only legend. Whether taken as allegory or history, the fall of Atlantis serves a timeless message. It warns that even the most advanced and powerful civilizations are vulnerable to inner decay. It is not military might or material wealth that sustains a society, but virtue, humility, and harmony with divine order. Atlantis fell not because of external enemies, but because it lost its way, its own greatness. Ancient interpretations and classical views. From the moment Plato introduced Atlantis in Timaeus and Critias, scholars and thinkers of the ancient world debated its meaning. Was Atlantis a historical reality, a parable, or something in between? Even in antiquity, opinions were divided. Some accepted the tale as truth rooted in distant memory, while others dismissed it as allegory or creative fiction. One of the earliest known supporters of the story's historicity was Crantor, a philosopher from Plato's Academy. According to later accounts, Crantor traveled to Egypt and claimed to have seen ancient inscriptions at the Temple of Neith in Sais that confirmed the Atlantean tale as told to Solon, Plato's source. This claim, though unverified, lent weight to the idea that Plato's account was based on genuine Egyptian records. However, most ancient commentators treated Atlantis with skepticism or symbolic interpretation. The Stoic philosopher Posidonius speculated that Plato may have drawn from real geographical events, such as earthquakes or tsunamis in the Mediterranean, but still viewed the tale as largely metaphorical. Meanwhile, Aristotle, Plato's own student, allegedly remarked, "He who invented it also destroyed it," implying that he believed Plato fabricated the entire story for philosophical purposes. Roman writers paid less attention to Atlantis, though some, like Pliny the Elder, reference the tale briefly when discussing lost lands and natural catastrophes. In general, classical thinkers did not treat Atlantis as an object of historical inquiry, but as a literary and moral device. For many ancient philosophers, the significance of Atlantis lay not in its factual basis, but in its symbolic power. It represented the dangers of moral decline and unchecked ambition, a mirror for real societies and their potential to fall. Thus, even among skeptics, the legend of Atlantis retained value as a powerful and enduring philosophical lesson. Medieval silence and Renaissance rediscovery. During the Middle Ages, the legend of Atlantis fell into near silence. The works of Plato, including Timaeus and Critias, were largely inaccessible to most of Europe, preserved only in limited manuscripts held by monastic scholars or in the libraries of the Islamic world. The dominant worldview of medieval Europe, shaped by Christian theology, left little room for pagan philosophical allegories or tales of sunken civilizations. Atlantis, lacking biblical authority, was largely ignored by medieval thinkers and theologians. However, the Islamic Golden Age, from the 8th to the 14th centuries, preserved many classical texts, including Plato's dialogues, through Arabic translations. While Atlantis was not a major focus for Muslim scholars, the transmission of ancient Greek knowledge through the Islamic world would later play a crucial role in its reintroduction to Europe. The rediscovery of Atlantis began during the Renaissance, a period of renewed interest in classical antiquity and humanist scholarship. As scholars like Marsilio Ficino translated Plato's works from Greek into Latin in the 15th century, Timaeus and Critias once again became accessible to European intellectuals. The Renaissance's fascination with lost knowledge, ancient wisdom, and the limits of human potential made the Atlantis story particularly alluring. Explorers of the Age of Discovery, such as Christopher Columbus, were also intrigued by the idea of lost lands beyond the Atlantic. Some speculated that newly encountered territories in the Americas might be remnants of Atlantis. Thinkers like Francis Bacon and Thomas More even used the idea of a sunken or isolated utopia in their own philosophical works, linking the legend to visions of ideal societies. Thus, after centuries of obscurity, at a reflection of Renaissance ideals and a mystery inviting rediscovery in a rapidly expanding world. 19th century revival. Donnelly and beyond. The legend of Atlantis experienced a dramatic resurgence in the 19th century, thanks in large part to the work of American politician and writer Ignatius Donnelly. In 1882, Donnelly published Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, a wildly popular book, and asserted Atlantis was not only real, but the source of all major ancient civilizations. Donnelly's work marked a turning point, transforming Atlantis from a philosophical allegory into a historical and scientific mystery in the public imagination. Donnelly argued that Atlantis was a technologically advanced civilization located in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and that its destruction by a global flood was preserved in myths around the world, including the Bible's Great Flood and the Epic of Gilgamesh. He claimed that the Atlanteans spread their knowledge and culture to Egypt, Mesopotamia, the Americas, and beyond, giving rise to pyramids, astrology, and early writing systems. Though his evidence was speculative and often unsupported, his ideas captivated a Victorian audience eager for hidden truths and lost golden ages. Donnelly's theories sparked a wave of interest in Atlantis and inspired a host of imitators, researchers, and adventurers. His book remained in print for decades and influenced esoteric movements like Theosophy, which blended spiritualism, mysticism, and lost civilizations. Theosophist Helena Blavatsky claimed Atlantis had been inhabited by spiritually advanced beings with psychic powers, further blending science fiction with ancient myth. Throughout the late 19th century, Atlantis became a staple of popular literature, pseudo-archaeology, and occultism. The rise of archaeology and geology also fueled debates as scholars began to investigate ancient ruins and natural disasters with new scientific tools, occasionally fueling speculation about sunken lands. While mainstream science largely rejected Donnelly's conclusions, his work ensured that Atlantis would never again fade into obscurity. The 19th century revival permanently embedded Atlantis in modern cultural consciousness as a symbol of lost wisdom, mystery, and the tantalizing possibility of forgotten history. Atlantis and pseudo-archaeology. Atlantis has long been a magnet for pseudo-archaeology, a field that blends speculative theories with selective or misunderstood evidence, often bypassing rigorous scientific methods. While mainstream archaeology relies on stratified digs, carbon dating, peer-reviewed analysis, and cultural context, pseudo-archaeological approaches to Atlantis tend to favor sensational claims, circular reasoning, and confirmation bias. The roots of pseudo-archaeology in Atlantis studies can be traced back to Ignatius Donnelly, whose 1882 book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, proposed that Atlantis was the source of all ancient civilizations. Though unsupported by scientific data, Donnelly's ideas laid the foundation for later fringe theories. In the 20th century, authors like Charles Berlitz and Erich von Däniken further blurred the lines between myth and science. Berlitz famously claimed Atlantis might be hidden in the Bermuda Triangle, while von Däniken introduced the idea of ancient aliens influencing Atlantean technology. Pseudo-archaeologists often cite underwater formations, such as the Bimini Road in the Bahamas, or structures off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan, as possible remnants of Atlantis, despite geological evidence indicating natural origins. They also draw connections between widely separated ancient cultures, like the Egyptians and the Maya, arguing for a common Atlantean ancestor. These claims ignore the distinct cultural, chronological, and technological differences revealed by legitimate archaeological research. The allure of pseudo-archaeology lies in its drama and mystery. It offers simplified answers to complex historical questions and appeals to a sense of wonder and lost grandeur. However, it also risks distorting our understanding of ancient peoples by projecting modern fantasies onto the past. While pseudo-archaeological interpretations of Atlantis remain popular in books, documentaries, and online media, they are widely rejected by scholars. Nonetheless, they continue to shape public perception, casting Atlantis not as a philosophical parable, but as a real, lost civilization just waiting to be rediscovered. Modern theories, from the Mediterranean to Antarctica. In the modern era, the search for Atlantis has extended far beyond Plato's original description, spawning a wide range of theories about its possible location. While mainstream scholars typically interpret Atlantis as allegory, modern theorists have proposed dozens of real-world candidates, from the familiar Mediterranean to the icy frontiers of Antarctica. One of the most enduring hypotheses places Atlantis in the Mediterranean, particularly on the island of Santorini, ancient Thera. This theory, supported by some archaeologists and volcanologists, suggests that the highly advanced Minoan civilization was devastated by a massive volcanic eruption around 1600 BCE. The eruption caused tsunamis and widespread destruction across the Aegean, possibly inspiring memories of a sunken city passed down over generations. The concentric layout of Plato's Atlantis has been loosely compared to the caldera of Santorini. Adding weight to this theory, other locations proposed include Spain's Doñana National Park, once a vast wetland, where some researchers have claimed to find circular structures resembling Plato's description. The Azores, off the coast of Portugal, have also been suggested due to their position in the Atlantic and proximity to undersea ridges. More extreme theories place Atlantis in South America, the Caribbean, or even Antarctica. The Antarctic theory gained popularity in fringe circles after World War II, based on claims that ancient maps, like the Piri-Reis map, show ice-free coastlines. Proponents suggest that a once temperate Antarctica may have hosted Atlantis before a pole shift or cataclysm froze it beneath the ice. Despite scientific criticism, modern theories about Atlantis continue to thrive, blending geology, archaeology, mythology, and speculation. Whether seen as historical investigation or imaginative projection, these theories reflect humanity's deep yearning to uncover lost knowledge and connect the present to a forgotten past, turning Atlantis into a global puzzle that refuses to fade. Atlantis and advanced technology myths. One of the most captivating aspects of the Atlantis legend in modern times is the belief that the lost civilization possessed advanced technology, far beyond what is typically associated with ancient societies. This idea, largely absent from Plato's original texts, emerged through speculative writers and fringe theorists in the 19th and 20th centuries, transforming Atlantis into a symbol of forgotten science, lost energy sources, and futuristic innovation buried in antiquity. According to these modern myths, the Atlanteans harnessed technologies that rival or exceed modern capabilities. Claims range from anti-gravity aircraft and energy crystals to lasers, advanced metallurgy, and wireless power transmission. Some suggest that Atlantis had clean, limitless energy derived from mysterious crystals or the Earth's magnetic field. Drawing comparisons to Nikola Tesla's real-world experiments with wireless energy in the early 20th century. These associations have only grown in popular culture, linking ancient wisdom with modern curiosity. Authors like Edgar Cayce, The Sleeping Prophet, further popularized the myth of Atlantean technology in the 20th century. In his trance readings, Cayce claimed Atlantis was a spiritually and technologically advanced society that fell due to misuse of power and energy. He spoke of flying machines, death rays, and energy crystals stored in a hall of records, buried beneath the Sphinx or the sea. These myths reflect a broader theme, the belief that humanity once reached a high level of civilization before a cataclysm erased it. This narrative resonates with ideas of cyclical history, suppressed knowledge, and a golden age lost to time. While no scientific evidence supports the existence of such Atlantean technology, its mythos remains compelling. It fuels countless books, films, and documentaries, and continues to inspire dreams of ancient brilliance waiting to be rediscovered, echoing the deep human desire for both origin and meaning. Atlantis and the Alien Connection, 300 words. Among the most controversial and imaginative interpretations of the Atlantis legend is the theory that the Atlanteans were not entirely human, or that their civilization was influenced or even created by extraterrestrial beings. This alien connection emerged prominently in the 20th century, blending the Atlantis myth with UFO lore, ancient astronaut theories, and New Age spirituality. Though widely rejected by mainstream scholars, it remains a powerful force in popular culture and alternative history circles. The ancient astronaut hypothesis popularized by authors like Erich von Däniken in Chariots of the Gods, 1968, suggests that alien visitors came to Earth in prehistoric times and shared advanced knowledge with early civilizations. Some theorists claim that Atlantis was one of these alien-founded colonies, a technologically advanced society created by or with the help of beings from other worlds. These beings, described as tall, luminous, and godlike, are often linked to myths of divine rulers and sky gods across various ancient cultures. In this view, the destruction of Atlantis may not have been a mere natural disaster, but the result of cosmic forces, either self-inflicted through dangerous technologies or as punishment from the extraterrestrial creators for moral corruption. Proponents often point to the sudden disappearance of Atlantis, its supposed energy crystals, and its sophisticated infrastructure as signs of non-human intervention. New Age beliefs have further tied the Atlanteans to higher spiritual consciousness, telepathic abilities, and even interdimensional travel. According to some, remnants of Atlantean knowledge are stored in hidden crystal libraries or channeled through psychic mediums. While these ideas lack empirical support, they persist because they offer grand, cosmic answers to the mysteries of human origins. The alien-Atlantis connection taps into deep questions about our place in the universe, making Atlantis not just a lost civilization, but a potential link to the stars. Atlantis in pop culture, books, films, games. Atlantis has become a cultural icon, transcending Plato's philosophical tale to become a staple of modern entertainment. Its enduring allure, mystery, advanced knowledge, and dramatic downfall has inspired countless books, films, TV shows, and video games. In literature, Atlantis appears in works ranging from Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea to comic books like DC's Aquaman, which reimagines Atlantis as an underwater kingdom. Authors such as Marion Zimmer Bradley and Clive Cussler have incorporated Atlantean myths into fantasy and techno-thriller genres, blending historical fiction with speculative elements. Film and television have further propelled Atlantis into the mainstream. Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire, 2001, portrays a technologically advanced and spiritually rich civilization, while Stargate Atlantis, 2004 to 2009, takes the legend into the realm of science fiction, linking it to alien technology and intergalactic travel. In gaming, Atlantis serves as a powerful setting for exploration and mystery. Titles like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, The Fate of Atlantis, and Tomb Raider Underworld immerse players in sunken ruins and ancient technologies, blending action with myth. From scholarly debate to popular media, Atlantis has evolved into a canvas for creativity. Its timeless mystery continues to inspire, inviting each generation to imagine what may lie beneath the waves. Scientific investigations and underwater discoveries. While the legend of Atlantis often drifts into the realm of myth and speculation, scientific efforts have occasionally sought to uncover real-world evidence of sunken civilizations. Marine archaeologists, geologists, and oceanographers have explored numerous underwater sites that some claim may be linked to Atlantis, though none have provided definitive proof. One of the most famous sites is the Bimini Road, located near the Bahamas. Discovered in the 1960s, this underwater rock formation features large, rectangular stones arranged in a linear pattern. While some believe it to be the remnants of Atlantean architecture, geological studies have shown it to be a natural formation shaped by erosion and tectonic activity. Other investigations have focused on the Mediterranean, the submerged city of Pavlopetri off the coast of Greece, and the ancient ruins around Santorini, linked to the Minoan eruption, offer glimpses into real civilizations lost to the sea, but none match Plato's detailed description of Atlantis in size or layout. Modern technologies such as sonar mapping, satellite imaging, and deep-sea submersibles have expanded our ability to explore the ocean floor. Though these tools have uncovered fascinating ruins and submerged landscapes, no scientific expedition has yet uncovered definitive evidence of Atlantis, keeping the mystery alive beneath the waves. So, what is Atlantis? A cautionary fable? A misunderstood memory of ancient disaster? A buried truth? Or a symbol of our deepest desires? Whether Plato's city existed or not, the myth of Atlantis continues to shape our imagination. It challenges science, it inspires adventure, and it refuses to be forgotten. What do you think? Was Atlantis real? A tale of aliens? A lost technological utopia? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into ancient mysteries. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, sometimes the truth lies buried beneath the waves. Do you think Atlantis was real or just an ancient warning? Let us know in the comments below.